Ta, Jai-ho, and Du-yun sat together in a small room on New Gyeongju. Each had come here for different reasons, but now they shared the same goal, to find out what was beyond human space. Admiral Kim helped me get here, Jai-ho said. Then he disappeared. He said it was safer if he wasn't seen with us. Du-yun placed her data crystal on the table. These old records show humans have been guarding that border for centuries. But why? Tai told them about his meeting with Captain Jun. He said something about the Watchers and Predators that notice noise. So what do we do now? Jai-ho asked. We go see for ourselves, Ta said simply. Du-yun frowned. How? No ships are allowed past the border. I found this. Ta showed them a message on his computer. It was an advertisement for an old survey ship for sale. We can buy it with the money from your research grant, Du-yun. That's crazy, Jai-ho said. And illegal. We could go to prison. Or we could find the truth, Tai replied. After much talking, they agreed. 3 days later, they stood in a small spaceport looking at their new ship. It was old and needed paint, but the engines were good. We need a pilot, Du-yun said. None of us can fly this thing. I can help with that. They turned to see a woman walking toward them. She was tall and had short black hair. Her eyes were sharp and knowing. My name is Eun, she said. I'm a xenobiologist. I study alien life. How did you find us? Tai asked suspiciously. Eun smiled. Admiral Kim sent me. He said you might need help. Can you fly this ship? Jai-ho asked. I can. I was also part of a government team that studied what you call the anomaly beyond human space. They all stared at her. You've been beyond the border, Du-yun whispered. Yes. There's something you need to understand. Humans aren't keeping people out. We're keeping something in. Later, as their ship left New Gyeongju's orbit, Yun explained more. The border exists because what's beyond it is dangerous. Not just to humans, but to all life in the galaxy. What is it? Tai asked. You'll see soon enough, Yun said as she set the course. We'll reach the border in 2 days. On the second day, their ship approached the edge of human space. On the map, it was just a straight red line. In real space, there was nothing to see. No fence, no wall, just stars. This is it, Yun said. Last chance to turn back. No one spoke. Yun nodded and pushed the ship forward. As they crossed the border, the ship's systems began to act strangely. The screens flickered. The lights dimmed. What's happening? Jai-ho asked nervously. Communication systems are down, Yun said calmly. It's normal. Nothing works right out here. Ta looked at the navigation screen. It showed impossible things. Stars that moved too fast. Space that seemed to fold and unfold. Is the system broken? He asked. No, Yun said. Space itself is different here. The normal rules don't apply. Suddenly, all the alarms on the ship began to sound. Yun looked at the scanner, her face going pale. What is it? Du-yun asked. Something very big just noticed us, Yun whispered. And it's coming this way. Through the front window, they saw a massive shape moving among the stars. It was bigger than any ship they had ever seen. Bigger than a moon. And it was not alone. Don't move the ship, Yun said quietly. Don't turn on more lights. Don't make any noise. Everyone froze. Through the front window, they watched as the massive shape drifted slowly past them. It was like a building floating in space, but bigger than any building ever made. Its surface was dark and covered with strange marks. What is that? Jai-ho whispered. A sentinel, Yun said. One of the smaller ones. As their eyes adjusted to the darkness, they saw more shapes in the distance. Huge objects floating silently in the void. Some were as big as moons. Some were even larger. There are hundreds of them, Du-yun said in awe. Yun nodded. They're artificial structures. built by someone or something that lived long before any of our species existed. Who built them? Tai asked. We don't know for sure. When the first humans found them, they tried to communicate. They received only one message back. What did it say? Jeho asked. We stand between the light and the hunger. Do not wake what sleeps beyond. The ship drifted silently past the sentinel. On the screens, they could see more details of the massive structure. It was covered with what looked like closed doors or hatches. Strange lights blinked slowly across its surface. Are they alive? Du Yun asked. Not exactly, Yun said. They're machines, but very advanced ones. They seem to be watching for something. The hunger, Ta whispered, remembering what June had told him. Yun nodded. That's what we think. These sentinels form a line between our galaxy and something else. Something dangerous. And humans found them first, Jeho said. That's why the border is there. Yes, Yun said. When humans first explored this region, they discovered the sentinels. They were dormant then, or seemed to be. But as humans explored further, the sentinels started to wake up. She pointed to one of the larger structures in the distance. See how that one has lights moving across it. That means it's active. Watching. Watching for what? Du Yun asked. Before Yun could answer, a red light began to flash on the control panel. Something's wrong, she said, suddenly worried. The larger sentinels are moving. On the scanner, they could see the bigger structures slowly turning. Lights were coming on all across their surfaces. They shouldn't be doing that, Yun said. They only move when they detect. A loud sound cut through the ship, like metal tearing. The screens all flashed with warning messages. What's happening? Tai asked, his voice shaking. They've detected us, Yun said, her hands flying over the controls. Or something else. We need to leave. Now. The engines came to life. The ship began to turn. Wait, Du Yun said, pointing to the window. Look at that. In the distance, one of the largest sentinels had fully awakened. Its entire surface was now covered with bright lights. Parts of it were opening up, revealing what looked like weapons. It's not aiming at us, Jeho realized. It's aiming at something behind us. They all turned to look out the back window. At first, they saw nothing but empty space. Then, slowly, they noticed a spot where the stars seemed to bend, a place where space itself seemed wrong. What is that? Ta whispered. Yun's face was pale. That, she said quietly, is why the map ends at human space. The dark spot grew larger. The sentinels moved faster now, all turning to face it. We need to leave, Yun said urgently. Now, before it fully wakes up. Du Yun wiped dust from her face as she carefully moved deeper into the underground room. The air was old and stale. No one had been here for hundreds of years. New Gyeongju was famous for its ancient ruins. As the first planet humans had settled after leaving Earth, it held many secrets from the early days of space travel. Du Yun had spent 5 years digging here, looking for clues about humanity's first meetings with alien races. Most records from that time were lost during the Quantum Wars. History books had big gaps. But Du Yun believed the truth was still here, buried under the dirt. Today, her team had found a sealed door deep under the old government building. The door had strange markings that matched no known language. It took them hours to open it. Professor Du Yun called her assistant from behind. Be careful. The floor might not be safe. Du Yun nodded, but kept moving forward. Her light showed rows of metal boxes on shelves. Each box had a date marked on it. The oldest was from 300 years ago. These are data crystals, she said, picking up one box. Hundreds of them. She carefully opened the box. Inside was a small crystal that glowed with a soft blue light, still working after all these years. Back at their camp, Du Yun connected the crystal to her reader. The screen lit up with old text files, letters and messages between the first human leaders and something called the Galactic Concord. This can't be right, she whispered as she read. The history books say humans joined the Galactic Concord 200 years ago. These messages are from 300 years ago. Her assistant looked over her shoulder. What does it say? Do Yun pointed to one message. Look at this. It's from the Shritian High Council to the human president. The message read, "We agree to your terms. The border of human space will be marked as the edge of safe travel. No ships will be permitted beyond. The danger must remain contained." I don't understand, her assistant said. The humans didn't set the border. Du Yun opened more files. Each told the same story. It wasn't humans who had decided their space would be the edge of the map. It was every other alien race working together. They found a video file. Du Yun played it with shaking hands. On the screen, a human woman in an old-style uniform spoke to a group of alien leaders. "You don't understand what we're containing out there," the woman said. "We've lost 5 colony ships already. The things beyond our space aren't just dangerous. They're hungry." An alien replied, "Then why stay? Why not leave this dangerous area?" The woman's face grew sad. "Because if we leave, there will be nothing between them and the rest of the galaxy. We're the wall. We've always been the wall." The video ended. Du Yun sat back, shocked. "The other species aren't afraid of humans," she said slowly. "They're afraid of what humans are keeping away from them." Her computer beeped. A message had arrived from Earth. Du Yun opened it, then gasped. "What is it?" her assistant asked. "It's from someone named Jiho. He says he's with Admiral Kim from Earth. They want to meet me. They say it's about what's beyond human space." Du Yun looked at the ancient crystal, then at her assistant. "I think," she said quietly, "we just found a piece of a very big and very old secret." Tai stared at the large map on the wall of his small office. Something was wrong with it. He had been looking at it for 3 hours now, and the strange feeling would not leave him. Tai was the youngest map maker at the Daedalus Institute on Centauri Prime. He had always loved maps. As a child, he would draw maps of his home, his school, and even maps of maps. Now, at 26, he made maps of the galaxy for the most famous map-making school in the known universe. Today, he was checking the newest version of the Galactic Standard Map. It was his job to make sure everything was correct before it was sent out to all ships and planets. His finger traced the colorful lines that showed the borders of different alien worlds. Blue for the Strivian worlds, green for the Motari Collective, yellow for the free systems, and red for human space. That's where his finger stopped, at the edge of the red area. Unlike all other borders on the map, the edge of human space was a straight line, a perfect, unbroken line with words printed along it. "Navigate beyond at own risk." Ta frowned. This made no sense. Borders in space followed natural things like stars or empty areas. They were never straight lines. He checked the older maps on his computer. The same straight line appeared on maps from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 100 years ago. Since the first maps were made, human space had this strange, straight border. Why? Ta whispered to himself. What's on the other side? He searched for exploration records beyond the human border. There were none. No official studies. No exploration missions. Nothing. A knock on his door made him jump. Still working, Ta, Professor Sun, his teacher and mentor, stood in the doorway. She was old, with gray hair and kind eyes. "Professor," Ta said, pointing at the map, "have you ever noticed this straight line at human space?" Professor Sun's smile disappeared. She looked at the map, then quickly closed Ta's door. "Why are you asking about this?" she asked in a quiet voice. "Because it doesn't make sense," Ta said. "Space doesn't have straight lines, and why aren't there any records of what's beyond it?" Professor Sun looked nervous. She checked the door again, then sat down next to Ta. "Listen to me carefully," she said. "Some questions don't have answers. Some answers are not meant for us to know." "But..." "No," her voice was firm. This isn't just about maps, Ta. In my 50 years here, I've seen 3 cartographers ask these same questions. None of them work here anymore. Ta felt a chill. What happened to them? They disappeared, she said simply. One day here, the next day gone. No one spoke of them again. She stood up and walked to the door. Update the map as needed, but leave that border alone. For your own good, drop this matter. After she left, Tai sat in silence. Her warning should have scared him, but instead, his curiosity grew stronger. He turned to his computer and started a new search, not in the official records, but in personal journals and old news reports. If the Institute wouldn't tell him why the map ended at human space, he would find out himself. As the night grew late, Todd found something strange. 500 years ago, a private research ship had gone beyond the border. The ship's name was the Curious Eye. It had sent one final message before disappearing forever. The message was only 3 words. They are awake. Ta saved the file and closed his computer. Tomorrow, he would begin a new project. Not updating maps, but finding the truth about what lurked beyond human space, and why no one dared to ask why. We need to get back to the ship, Yun said, moving quickly to the controls. The Sentinels are calling all humans to help. As their ship moved out from the asteroids, they saw something that made them freeze. A tear had appeared in space itself. Like a rip in dark cloth, it hung between the stars, pulsing with strange energy. What is that? Ta whispered. A way in, Yun said, her voice tight with fear. The hunger is breaking through. Through the tear, they could see shapes moving. Not ships or creatures, but something else. Massive forms that seemed to bend and change as they watched. Some were as big as stars. They feed on energy, Yun explained as she turned the ship away from the tear. Stars, planets, life itself. They consume everything. The Sentinels were now moving toward the tear. The largest ones positioned themselves directly in front of it. What are they doing? Jaiho asked. Sacrificing themselves, Yun said sadly. They're going to try to close the tear. As they watched, the first Sentinel moved into the tear. Its massive form began to glow, brighter and brighter. Then, with a flash that lit up all of space around them, it exploded. The tear grew smaller. Another Sentinel moved forward, then another. Each one exploded in a flash of light, and each time, the tear grew smaller. They're dying to save us, Du Yun said, tears in her eyes. They were built for this purpose, Yun said, to be the last defense. But even as the Sentinels sacrificed themselves, something was coming through the tear. A dark shape, bigger than anything they had seen before, was pushing through the shrinking opening. We need to go, Yun said, firing up the engines. Now. The ship shot forward, racing away from the battle. Behind them, flashes of light showed where Sentinels were still fighting. Will they stop it? Tai asked. I don't know, Yun admitted. This has never happened before. Suddenly, all the ship's systems shut down. The lights went out. The engines stopped. They were floating in darkness. What's happening? Jaiho asked, panic in his voice. Something hit us, Yun said, trying to restart the systems. Energy from the battle, maybe. Through the window, they could see that they were drifting toward the tear. Without engines, they couldn't escape its pull. Is this how we die? Du Yun asked quietly. No one answered. They all watched as they drifted closer to the tear, to the darkness that waited beyond. Then a bright light appeared beside them. A ship, much bigger than theirs. It moved alongside them and held them with a beam of light. Who is that? Tai asked. A voice came through their communication system, which somehow was working again. This is Admiral Kim of the Human Defense Fleet Ship Guardian. We've been tracking you since you crossed the border. Relief washed over them. They weren't alone. The life support system on your ship is failing. Admiral Kim continued. We're bringing you aboard. Stand by. As they felt themselves being pulled toward the larger ship, They looked one last time at the battle behind them. The tear was almost closed now, but the dark shape had partially come through. It was fighting with the last of the sentinels. Will they win? Jaiho asked Yun. Today, maybe, she said. But the hunger never stops trying to get in. That's why we've been watching for so long. A bright light surrounded them as they were transported to Admiral Kim's ship. The last thing they saw through their window was a group of human warships moving toward the battle. Weapons ready. Humans standing guard at the edge of the map. As they had always done, Jaiho straightened his formal blue robe one last time. Tonight was important. As the first Srihian diplomat ever sent to the human embassy on Earth, he could not make mistakes. You look fine, his assistant told him. The humans will be impressed. Jaiho nodded, though he wasn't worried about his looks. He was worried about saying the wrong thing. Humans were strange. They smiled a lot but kept many secrets. The grand hall of the Earth Embassy was full of important people. Diplomats from 20 different worlds stood in small groups, talking quietly. Humans moved between them, offering drinks and food. Jaiho took a deep breath and walked toward a group of human officials. He had studied for this moment. He knew all their names and ranks. Admiral Kim, he said with a bow to the tallest human. It is an honor to meet you. Admiral Kim turned. His uniform was dark blue with many medals. His face was serious, but his eyes were kind. The honor is mine, Diplomat Jaiho, he said. Welcome to Earth. I hope your journey was pleasant. They talked about simple things. The weather on Earth, the food at the party, the new trade agreements between their worlds. Then, without thinking, Jaiho said something he shouldn't have. I've always wondered, Admiral, why does the galactic map end at human space? What's beyond your borders? The room didn't go silent, but Jaiho felt like it did. Admiral Kim's smile stayed in place, but his eyes changed. They became cold. The borders were set long ago, the Admiral said. Tradition is important in space travel. More wine. Just like that, the subject was changed. Jaiho knew he had touched something forbidden, but he didn't understand why. The rest of the evening passed without problems, but Jaiho felt watched. Later that night, in his private room at the embassy, Jaiho couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the Admiral's reaction. Why was a simple question about maps so sensitive? His computer beeped. A message had arrived, but there was no sender name. Jaiho opened it carefully. The message contained old reports, ship logs, emergency calls, all from vessels that had traveled beyond human space. None of the ships had ever returned. One report showed pictures of a research ship called the Curious Eye. The last message from its captain said, "They are awake. Turn back. Do not." The message ended there. At the bottom of the file was a simple warning. Some questions are better left unasked. Jaiho closed the message. His hands were shaking. Someone had sent him this information. But why? Was it a warning to stay away from the topic or an invitation to dig deeper? He walked to the window and looked up at the night sky. Earth's moon was bright tonight. Somewhere out there, beyond the stars he could see, was a border no one crossed. A line on a map that everyone accepted without question. Everyone except him now. There was a knock on his door. Jaiho froze. It was very late for visitors. Diplomat Jaiho. A quiet voice called. May I come in? I need to speak with you about your question at dinner. Jaiho recognized the voice. It was Admiral Kim. He hesitated, thinking of the warning in the message. Then, slowly, he walked to the door. Some questions are better left unasked, he whispered to himself. But he no longer believed that. Jaiho opened the door, not knowing if he was about to find answers or more mysteries, or if he was making a terrible mistake. Admiral Kim stood in the hallway, his face grave. We need to talk, the Admiral said, about what waits beyond human space. The ship raced away from the dark spot. Eon pushed the engines as hard as they could go. Behind them, The sentinels were now fully awake, their giant forms moving with surprising speed. "We won't make it to the border in time," Yun said. "We need to hide." She turned the ship toward a field of broken rocks that might have once been a small planet. As they flew between the giant stones, uncut the main engines. "Now we wait," she whispered, "and I'll tell you what I know." The four of them sat in the dim emergency lights. Through the window, they could see the sentinels moving in the distance, searching. "Earth is not our home," Yun said suddenly. The others stared at her. "What do you mean?" Tai asked. "Humans didn't start on Earth. We came from somewhere else, long ago." Yun's voice was low and serious. "The real human history is kept secret from most people." "That's impossible," Du Yun said. "We have records going back thousands of years on Earth." "Those records were created," Yun said. "The truth is that humans arrived in this galaxy running from something. Something terrible." Jai-Ho leaned forward. "Running from what?" "The hunger. The things that live in the dark between galaxies." Yun pointed to the dark spot that was now growing larger. "The things that the sentinels were built to watch for." "Who built the sentinels?" Tai asked. "We did," Yun said simply. "Or rather, our ancestors did. Humans once had a great empire that spread across many galaxies. We built the sentinels as watchers and guards against the things that lived in the deep void." No one spoke for a long moment. "When those things finally found us," uncontinued, "they destroyed almost everything. The last humans fled to this galaxy and set up on Earth. They erased their own memories so the hunger couldn't follow their thoughts. That's why the map ends at human space," Jai-Ho said, understanding now. "The sentinels recognized humans as their creators." "Yes," Yun nodded. "When the first human explorers from Earth found the sentinels, the machines woke up. They remembered their purpose, and they made a deal with us." "What deal?" Du Yun asked. "Humans would make sure no one went past the border and woke the hunger. The sentinels would continue their watch. Together, we would keep the galaxy safe." Outside, one of the smaller sentinels drifted past their hiding place. They all held their breath until it moved away. "How do you know all this?" Tai asked. "I'm part of the Guardian Order," Yun said. "We keep the old knowledge. We help the sentinels. Very few humans know the truth." "And the other species?" Jai-Ho asked. "The Streetians, the Motari, all the others." "They sense the danger," Yun said. "Something deep inside them knows not to go near this place. They don't understand why, but they feel it. That's why they agreed so easily to mark human space as the edge of the map." A loud alarm sounded from the ship's control panel. On the screen, they could see the dark spot growing larger. It was no longer just bending the light of stars. Now it seemed to be swallowing them. "The sentinels are moving into defense position," Yun said, watching the scanner. "It's happening. After all these centuries, the hunger is waking up." "What do we do?" Tai asked, his voice shaking. "We need to get back across the border," Yun said. "And we need to warn everyone. The sentinels can't fight this alone." As they watched, the largest sentinel turned toward the growing darkness. Its surface opened, revealing a light so bright they had to shield their eyes. "What is it doing?" Du Yun asked. "It's calling for help," Yun whispered. "From the only ones who can provide it." "Who?" Jai-Ho asked. "Us," Yun said. "Humans." June sat on his porch, looking at the red hills of Mars. The evening sun made long shadows across the valley. His small house was far from other homes, just how he liked it. 40 years in space had made him tired of people. After serving in the human defense fleet, all he wanted was quiet. His computer beeped. Someone was coming up the long road to his house. June frowned. He never had visitors. Through his old military binoculars, he saw a small car moving slowly through the dust. A young man was driving. Probably lost, June thought. But the car came straight to his house and stopped. The young man stepped out and looked around nervously. "Captain June," he called. "My name is Ta. I'm from the Daedalus Institute. I need to talk to you." June didn't answer. How did this boy know he had been a captain? "It's about the border," Ta called. "The edge of human space. Please, I just want to ask some questions." June stood up quickly. He walked inside and shut his door. Through the window, he watched the young man wait for an hour before finally leaving. That night, June couldn't sleep. Old memories came back. Things he had seen at the edge. Things that shouldn't exist. The next day, the young man returned. And the next. On the fourth day, June was waiting on the porch with 2 chairs and a bottle. "You're very stubborn," June said when Todd got out of his car. "I need answers," Tay replied. June poured 2 glasses of synthetic soju. The fake rice wine wasn't as good as the real thing, but it was strong. "Why do you care about the border?" June asked. Ta showed him a small computer. "I make maps. This border makes no sense. It's too straight, too perfect. And I found records of a ship called the Curious Eye that disappeared there." June's hand shook, spilling his drink. "Where did you hear that name?" "In old records. Was it real?" June drank his soju and poured another. Then another. The sun was setting when he finally began to speak. "I was a border patrol captain for 20 years, he said. "Our job was simple. Keep people away from the edge. Both sides of the edge." "Both sides?" Tai asked. "You mean something was trying to come in?" June laughed without humor. "No. Other aliens were trying to look out. To see beyond." "What were they looking for?" "Not what. Who?" June's eyes were far away now, seeing things from long ago. "We caught dozens of research ships. Not military. Scientists. They were scanning beyond our space, looking for something they thought was out there." "What were they looking for?" Tai asked again. June looked at him with tired eyes. "They called them the Watchers. Ancient beings that sleep between galaxies. The aliens believed these beings existed, and they wanted proof." "Did they find proof?" "No, but they made noise. Too much noise." June's voice dropped to a whisper. "The Curious Eye wasn't an alien ship. It was human. It went too far, scanned too deep." And something answered. Ta leaned forward. "What happened to it?" "The same thing that happens to anything that makes too much noise in a dark forest. The predators notice." June finished his drink. "The border isn't there to keep people out of human space, boy. It's there to keep something else in. Something we've been containing for thousands of years." "What is it?" Ta whispered. Before June could answer, his security system beeped. Someone else was coming up the road. "You should leave," June said urgently. "Now. They're coming." "Who's coming?" Tai asked, confused. "The people who keep the secret," June said. "And they don't like questions." 1 week later, Ta, Jai-Ho, and Du-Yun sat in a large room deep under the surface of Earth. The walls were made of thick metal, and there were no windows. Armed guards stood by the only door. Admiral Kim walked in, followed by 5 older humans in dark uniforms. They sat across from the 3 friends at a long table. "You have seen things that few in our galaxy have ever witnessed," Admiral Kim said. "Now we must decide what to do with you." "Are we prisoners?" Jai-Ho asked. "No," said one of the older humans, a woman with gray hair. "You are guests. But what you know is dangerous." "The tear has been sealed," Admiral Kim said. "The Sentinels sacrificed themselves, and our ships finished the job. But it won't last forever. The hunger will try again." "How long have humans been guarding that border?" Du-Yun asked. "Since we rediscovered the Sentinels, about 500 years ago," the woman said. "Before that, the Sentinels watched alone for thousands of years." Ta looked at the serious faces around him. "Why keep it secret? Why not tell everyone what's out there?" Admiral Kim sighed. "What would happen if the galaxy knew that hungry gods wait beyond the stars? that only a thin line of machines and human ships stands between them and the end of everything. Panic, Jaiho said. Understanding. Fear. Yes, the woman nodded. And worse. Some would try to study the hunger, to use it as a weapon, to worship it. We've seen it happen. So instead, everyone just accepts that the map ends at human space, Du Yun said. And no one asks why. Until you three. Admiral Kim smiled slightly. Now you have a choice to make. The woman slid 3 small devices across the table. They looked like simple metal coins. These will erase your memories of everything you saw beyond the border, she explained. You can go back to your normal lives. Your curiosity will be gone. You will never wonder about the edge of the map again. Or? Tai asked. Or you join us, Admiral Kim said. The Sentinel Protocol. We need people like you. People who ask questions. People who search for the truth. What would we do? Jaiho asked. Serve as liaisons between humans and your own people. Help us maintain the watch. Strengthen the defenses without revealing the danger. The 3 friends looked at each other. I choose to remember, Ta said, pushing the device away. I want to help. So do I, Du Yun said. Jaiho hesitated, then nodded. Me too. Admiral Kim smiled. Good. We start tomorrow. 3 months later, Ta stood in his old office at the Daedalus Institute. On the wall hung the newest version of the Galactic Standard Map. The red line marking the edge of human space was still there, still straight and perfect. Professor Sun entered the room. She looked at Ta, then at the map. You're back, she said. I heard you were working with the Human Council now. Yes, Ta said. A special project. She studied his face carefully. Did you find your answers? About what's beyond the border? Tai thought about the tear in space, about the Sentinels sacrificing themselves, about the hunger that waited in the darkness between galaxies. Some questions are better left unasked, he said, using the same words she had told him months ago. But now he understood why. Professor Sun nodded, a hint of knowledge in her eyes. The map ends at human space, she said quietly. And no one dares to ask why. Tai finished. Outside the window, the stars shone peacefully. Most people would never know how close they had come to darkness. They would never know that humans stood guard at the edge of the map, keeping ancient horrors at bay. And that was the greatest gift humans could give the galaxy, peaceful ignorance of the hunger that waited beyond.